Hello everyone, my name is Rishabh and today I'm joined by a guest whose contributions to academia and leadership speaks for themselves. With over 40 years of experience across academia, research and industry, and more than 70 publications in national and international journals, he has held leadership roles in several institutions, including serving as a Pro Vice-Chancellor and the Acting Vice-Chancellor of East-West University during its inception. He is also the former president of the Asia Marketing Federation and the current president of the World Marketing Council. He is none other than our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Syed Ferhat Anwar, sir. Sir, to begin with, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you so much.
So let us get into the questions. To start with, you have authored over 70 publications, both in national and international journals. And you have also taught in several universities, having the reputation of being one of the top educators of Bangladesh. So what do you think is lacking about Bangladesh's academia? And what changes would you say could solve the problem?
I'm not very sure about if I'm one of them, I'm up there at the top. I'm just one of them. But education has been a challenge in this country, primarily because most universities, particularly tertiary education, most of the universities have been focusing only on teaching, not on learning per se. And that too, the difference being that if you really would like to learn and not just teach, the learning exercise requires you to also to focus on research, which has been absent to a certain extent, if I may say so. Even when we talk about our research, my publications, you will find that a handful of them are focused towards applied research. Most of them are theoretical research. And that too is number crunching. What we call that you use certain statistics, and the statistics manipulation results into publication because you've done some number crunching and all. So that really doesn't make much of a sense if you talk in terms of the learning part of it. That is very much lacking. And as you go towards secondary and primary education, you'll find that again, it's like spoon feeding more than anything else. So does it really result in good knowledge? The answer is a big no. And when you talk in terms of textbooks, the textbooks driven learning results in what? Some sort of historical data which you believe to be right rather than factual. So the learning becomes actually partial, not complete. So these are some of the things I feel that we've not done much. Though again, if I may say so, if you talk in terms of tertiary education, the first university was here in Bengal. So imagine the first university of the world started in our part of the world, and that too in Bengal. And later on, what is happening?
So moving on, you hold an honors and master's degree in biochemistry from Dhaka University, afterwards pursuing an MBA from IBA, and then a PhD in marketing systems from the University of New Brunswick in Canada. What inspired your change in academic direction, and do you have any words of advice for students who have shifted their academic disciplines as we tend to see nowadays? Do you have any personal anecdotes that you could share about how you connect these two disciplines in your own professional life?
First of all, don't think I'm smart enough to have decided what to take and what not to take. I was forced into it. I wanted to study psychology. My father thought that it was not the right place because it might affect my brain, which probably it already had. So he literally pushed me to study biological science, which would be more practical. So he wanted me to study physics. I sat for the physics entrance exam, failed. And then I sat for the biochemistry exam, somehow managed, and pursued biochemistry. So it was totally unplanned. It was not planned. Second, regarding business, I had absolutely no idea what business was. I was busy as I took my master's. During our time, we had this two stream, the general stream and the research or research team. So I was in the research sort of stream. So I started my research. I was very much into my research. And then one fine morning, some of my friends said that there is one particular institute called Institute of Business Administration. They would like to sit for an entrance exam there. Would I be interested? Because somehow they thought that I should be part of that particular team. I had no idea what this IB animal was. I sat for the exam. We were 7 of them. I passed. The rest of them could not succeed. And then there was an accident in my lab, in one of my friend's lab actually. And my friend, she got injured. She was seriously injured. And my mother decided that I should not be inside such labs where accidents take place and life is threatening. So she said that, well, I've heard that, she knew more than me. She said that I have heard that this IB would give you a better job and all. So why don't you pursue with this business education? And I started business education. And initially I didn't like it at all. Frankly speaking, I hated it because I thought that they were talking about things which was nothing to do with life. It was more to do with money. And later on, somehow, I just got through and completed it. It was totally unplanned for. But later in life, most of particularly my consulting works, helped me a lot because I started off with the pharmaceutical sector, with life science and all. So that is where I think my science knowledge and the business knowledge blended beautifully. And that is where, so it was totally unplanned. And that has given me far more than anything else. So for the students, I would say, I moved into marketing, by the way. I moved into marketing because remember I said that I wanted to study psychology. And somehow, within my business education, I found marketing to be more related to psychology and human being than any other of these subjects. Definitely not accounting and finance. Human resource to a certain extent, that was also too much system oriented. It was not dynamic enough. So if you really wanted to look into the dynamism in business, it was in marketing. So I pursued marketing because of the fact that I loved psychology. So at the end of my life, just imagine, I moved where I was in love with human beings. So my request to everyone would be, do what you actually feel is close to your heart. Don't just be carried away by friends and by this and that. That is where we make mistake. And we do not do justice to our own self. And also, we know ourselves better than anyone else does. So we know what we are good at. We know what we should give to the world, how we can give to the world. And if we stray away from that, we make a mistake. So I have a feeling that it is just from my personal angle. I feel that sticking to your own sort of own self, own belief is far better than listening to others.
Thank you. Very beautifully said. You have also had the experience of leading many organizations, both academic and corporate. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced while you were in these leadership positions? What would you say motivates or inspires you to continue in this role of leadership that you're in currently?
The challenges you have is how to bring the people within an organization together under one particular motto, or what we call, in business we say we have a sort of mission and vision and stuff like that. That is the most difficult task. Now, leaders alone are nothing. You are just one of the team players. And if you fail in understanding your people, fail in setting the right sort of vision for your organization, and which can bring in knowledge of all your team players towards achieving that particular target that has been set for you, that is the biggest challenge that you have. So I personally feel that I wouldn't say I'm good at it, but the only thing I can say is that understanding people is what I feel is my first task. Once I do that, it becomes easier. And you will have, the other thing that you must understand is we are different people, we'll have conflict, we'll have differences. How do you handle your differences? So If I come up and say that anyone who is different from me is my enemy, that's where I make a mistake as a leader. We must understand that being different is my additional benefit, because I'm looking at another sort of a window, another perspective. I should not ignore these perspectives. That is what I feel is the most important thing to understand and believe in.
Thank you for sharing those words. You have also worked in BRAC during its initial years as a staff economist, and you were also an executive assistant to our founder, Sir Fazl Ahmed, and finally went on to become an export manager. So what lessons did you learn from him which you still utilize today? Is there any particular word of advice from him which still resonates with you even today while you're performing the roles that you do?
I don't know whether people will believe it or not, but fact of the matter is that, imagine I'm talking about the 80s, the early 80s, that is 80, 81 and all, during that particular period. He talked about, during those days, he talked about self-reliance. Now people are talking about self-reliance in terms of what? They're rephrasing it. We are calling it sustainable, correct? It's basically that. And he talked about the sustainability during that particular period. That is the biggest thing that I learned from him. The second thing which I feel, I think is something that he taught us was how to love your country. How to find out what is good in your country, what you can give to the world, not just take from the world. So don't be beggars, stand on your feet, but you can only do that if you understand what you can give to the world but others cannot. These were the lessons that I learned from him, and it stayed with me. And believe it or not, this is something which made me a better probably marketer and a strategist, where identifying the difference, which can actually make a difference for the world. Not just you being different, but making a difference in the world. This is what I learned from him.
It was a very inspiring lesson, I'm sure, to learn from him. Under your tenure, we have seen that BRAC University started its PhD program, which is the first in Bangladesh for any private universities. Are there any plans to introduce more PhD programs and create the opportunity to provide more degrees? Is there such possibilities?
First of all, this particular program is a joint PhD program between us and SWASH. And I did not start it, my colleague started it. So it was before I had even joined. So they were actually working on it, including my registrar, the Vice-Chancellor earlier, name it, treasurer, all of them were actually working on it. So it just happened that I was there when they finally succeeded. So if you really want to come up and say that who succeeded, the team succeeded. Yes, we did have challenges. More in terms of the bureaucracy, because quite naturally you can understand that when the private university is not allowed to offer PhD degrees, what we had an offer with one of the best universities of the world, and so we had to carry it forward. So the only thing that we did was how to find a way out, and we found a way out. Our way was very simple. We were doing a joint degree, not ours, so therefore, particularly we were talking in terms of someone else's degree. We also used, of course, global influence to get it through, and we were successful. So may I also add that even the UK government helped us, SWAS helped us, our own team helped us, our government helped us. It was an entire effort, a joint effort. If this joint effort was not there, you can rest assured we could not have started the program. So it was basically, we should give credit to everyone participated in their own small way to get this particular permission. Whether we should start more PhD programs, this is focused in one area, as you can understand. And when we talk in terms of a doctoral program or a PhD program, we are talking about creation of knowledge. Creation of knowledge in one area is incomplete. Should we have it more? Of course we should have it. We should have it across the value chain. We should have it in every single area where Bangladesh wants to develop, or a nation wants to develop, or even humanity wants to develop. So without creation of knowledge, we will not go too far. So are we trying for that? We will continue trying for that. We are definitely looking into it. But Are we only talking about the PhD program? The answer is again a no. We have to ensure that it can happen across the board. Do we have to do it with the Western world? Again, the answer is no. We can do it with any nation. What can Africa give us, which maybe United States cannot? Those are the things that we need to search for. And based on that, collaborations need to be developed. And we are doing it right now. We are working on a particular project which hopefully, inshallah, will be finalized to a certain extent by the 29th of this month. This is on agri-tech. Why agri-tech? Food is the biggest challenge in the world, correct? And we have the largest delta of the world here in Bangladesh. And we have not done anything with regard to tech. Should we do work? Can we work on it? Of course we can. Being the largest delta means you have the water resource. Water is one of the major resources for any agricultural technology going forward. On top of that, our per capita land is extremely limited. We are one of the lowest in terms of per capita land availability. So automatically, it forces us to work in that particular area. And we are here working with not just one university, but multiple universities. So we'll have, inshallah, multiple universities collaborating together, not for a PhD program minded, but maybe for our undergrad program, focusing on research as well, and focusing, of course, the typical knowledge dissemination as such. So it's not necessarily only limited to PhD. One should look at even certificate programs for that matter, professional programs for that matter. All of these carry knowledge from one end to the other. That's what we are pursuing for.
So you mentioned about how you're also focused on undergraduate programs, and the next question sort of ties into it, that we've recently seen the newly implemented School of Life Sciences. And we're also hearing about the possibility of a new school of fashion design, which is in progress. So could you please enlighten us on them, and what would you say this means for BRAC University as a whole going forward, both in terms of opportunities and also the possibilities that comes with it?
Excellent. I mean, we have challenges. Challenges are what? If there are certain weaknesses and we want to fight those weaknesses, what do? We come up with solving those problems, correct? And knowledge is one of the way of solving that problem. The other is, of course, these challenges also become opportunities. And of course, we also have the third dimension is, what are we good at? What can we offer to the world which others cannot? The life science part comes into that, particularly as I said, food science, agri-tech, that is the area that we are pursuing, focusing on food, focusing on our density, which means per capita availability of land, and on top of that, politics of food. You are aware of what happens in terms of politics of food. Imagine the Ukraine war. How much havoc has it created for the world? Too much, just for food. One of the major aspects is definitely food. Grains were available there, no more available now to the world. That has an impact on the entire world. So we need to solve that issue. And therefore, solving that particular issue if you look at Bangladesh is perfectly designed to solve that particular problem. Water being one, Delta being another. And on top of that, when you talk in terms of BRAC has something else which no one else has, which is what? BRAC Enterprise. So we can reach out to any farmer in this particular country and work with them, not with us alone, work with them, practically prove that we can do certain things. What else will it give us? Increasing the capacity. Being small doesn't really make much of a sense. Being large makes sense. And also the application part of it. So we are forcing ourselves to move into applied research. Remember I started off with the importance of applied research, but this is an opportunity that we move into that particular direction. Now, if you talk about fashion, BRAC houses one of the largest fashion houses of the country in the form of Arong. But Arong itself is merely an outlet, a brand. If you want to take Arong globally, what do we need to do? We need to ensure that the value chain is complete. If you want to complete the value chain, fashion and design automatically comes into picture, and we have to work on it. May I also add that BRAC University has been working on it for quite some time now. Now we are seeing light. Now we are working together so that we can ensure that fashion design becomes one of the major areas where we can focus on. Again, may I also come up and add that BRAC has another added advantage. What is that? We are present globally. We are the largest global player in enterprise management in the world, social enterprise management. And we have our footprints in 16 countries. Imagine fashion and design cannot go without culture, can it? If you want to bring innovation in fashion and design globally, imagine how richly connected we are. So we could be leaders in the global south. So we have to really think differently and big as well. Unless we do that, we'll not go too far. This is where the collaboration comes into picture again. Even in fashion and design, we have global partners that we are working with. So these are two small but major areas that we are actually moving into. We do have others. We are planning certain others, which we hopefully will be pursuing fairly soon, and we'll take it forward.
Thank you for sharing that insight with us. It was quite valuable, I'm sure, for our viewers. Moving on, when you took on your role as the Vice-Chancellor, it was a very sensitive point in the history of university among the students. So how did you overcome those challenges and address the issues in an engaging manner?
See, political sensitivity has been part of Bangladesh since its birth. This is not the first time. See, if someone comes up and says that this is the first time and how do you challenge it, it was there, so we've been doing it. While I was a student, it was there. When I was a teacher, it was there, and now it's still there. So, do you come up and confront it, coming up and saying that you are wrong and I'm right? No, everyone is right. It all depends upon the perspective one stands with. And you've got to recognize that fact. And you've got to place your university and the country first rather than your own beliefs first. So the moment you place your university first, in this case, it is your problem is resolved. If anyone does anything to harm the university, irrespective of where they belong to, we will stand by, we'll stand up and we'll say, hey, hold on a minute. My university comes first and you're not allowed to do that. I'll give you an example, and I'm sure it's sensitive, but again, I should. When I started off, one fine morning we found that people were calling me up and saying, hey, hold on a minute. Your BRAC students are going out there and harassing people in the people who are private. Why are they doing that? Now, do you think that's going to be acceptable to any one of us? The answer is no. So now, will it really help you if you keep them away, if you isolate them? No. If that is also not going to help them, they must be doing certain things for certain reason. And of course, the harassment by itself, for some people it was harassment. We need to resolve that particular issue, talk to them. So we started talking to everyone. We were also having issues whereby students were coming up and demanding things. I'm sure you guys know about it. So when they were demanding things, would you come up and say that the demands were wrong? Or for that matter, these demands were the only thing that one needed to address? The answer was, again, you need to discuss with students. So we started this sort of sessions with students, with groups at various levels. At the group level, at individual level, from the registrar's office, from the Vice-Chancellor office, name it, every single individual was playing a role. So discussion solves your problem, identifies issues where we might have made a mistake and we wanted to solve those issues, and we did that. Alhamdulillah. I would say that God was also kind, and we really worked very hard for it. Is it all resolved? No. Can we expect more in the future? Of course. Do we ignore them? Definitely not. Again, only one thing. Keep the institute above the individual gain. If the institute is above the individual gain, the university is above, then you'll be able to solve it.
Coming back to the point of academia, you have the experience in both public and private universities. If you could identify one thing, what would it be that these institutes can learn from each other?
If you talk in terms of financial viability of institutions, the public university can learn from us. If you talk in terms of cost effectiveness, we can learn from them. We are planning to sign up with the public universities, not that. I'm talking about BRAC University. We are planning to sign up with some of the public universities as well as private universities. So we're not just talking about globally, locally as well. And we are coming up with issues where we can actually, both of us can learn from each other. And mind it, not just public universities, but even public enterprises. Why not? They have certain things that we don't have. What do they have? Fortunately or unfortunately, most of the better students first apply to the public universities. That is what a fact is. Does it mean that we don't have good students? Of course we have good students, but the majority of them apply there. Why? It's free education. So is free education always good? Of course not, because that is where their sustainability is now questioned. Some of the bigger ones are doing all right, but what are the smaller universities? They're not even getting good students, nor do they have enough financing. So that is where they need to learn from us, from the private universities. But for us, as a private university, from public universities also we have a lot to learn. Mind it, I was more with IBA. IBA was self-sustaining anyways because we depended even financially on ourselves, on projects that we designed on ourselves. But that is again one thing, that they are far more independent than we are. We want to open up a new sort of a course, we have to go through the route of UGC and all that stuff. But they do it on their own. So they have much more independence than we have. So we should tell, in fact, UGC that if you're leaving the public universities on their own, why can't you leave us alone? In that case, particularly the big ones like ourselves, we could do far better. We could do really far better. But let's not keep two of them separate. Both of them are together. We can learn from each other. One particular thing which I'm personally against public universities' perspective is mixing up politics with party politics. Politics is one thing. All of us are political animals. All of us have political thoughts. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to bring party politics of a particular group of individuals within the university and then compete within that particular politics. That is not good. That ruins everything. And that is one of the bottlenecks for the growth of the public universities in particular.
So now if we reflect on your position as the Vice-Chancellor, which you have been in for just over a year now, what challenges do you feel that you entered with and how much of it were you able to overcome? Additionally, what dreams or visions would you say that you entered with and how much of it were you able to accomplish?
The challenge that I faced was basically too much compartmentalization within the university. We had these silos. Every single silo has excelled in their own way, but they were not talking to each other. One. The second challenge which I felt was, since as you said that I worked for BRAC, I understood BRAC. So that was an advantage that I had over other vice-chancellors who came in before me. They were also keeping themselves outside of this particular beautiful place called BRAC. BRAC is the largest social enterprise and therefore the largest social lab available to you. And you were keeping away from it. Most of us were. So this was the biggest challenge that I personally faced, to convince people that, hey, hold on a minute, this is a gold mine that you have. Hold on a minute, isolated, you don't do much. Collaboratively, you do quite a lot. And that is the only way you can bring up your brand image, your unique brand, which no one else has. So, but now we are proceeding in that direction. All of us believe that together and with synergy in place, which again was realized by Ahmed Bhai a decade ago. A decade ago, he had actually identified the importance of synergy, and he had actually told everyone to work on it. Unfortunately, we did not understand because academics are difficult to, we have our own mind as well. So now we're moving in that direction, and I feel that that is an achievement that particular step is going to take us pretty far.
To finish off, for closing remarks, what words of inspiration would you like to leave us students off with?
First and foremost, as you can quite clearly understand that your university, our university is unique. There is no second university of our kind, not just in Bangladesh, I would say in the world. Why is that? You have a fascinating group of individuals in the administration, in the academia, who are the best in their place. I'm not making things up. I'm actually, you go and check it out. Check it out and you'll find that that's true. Second, you have BRAC, the largest social enterprise to learn from. And not only to learn from, but actually give to as well. If you can do that here, you can give this to the world. That is a unique thing that you're going to create. This uniqueness you will find nowhere in the world. Second, you belong to a country, and I was saying this a while ago, you belong to a country which is the most densely populated country on earth amongst large populations. And we have lived through so many problems, whether be it natural or be it artificial man-made. And we've done pretty good. We've not done too badly. So imagine you are part and parcel of a country who are fighters, who have lived in a hard way but given to the world. This is something else that you can give to the world. Third, you belong to a country which is again the largest delta of the world. Don't forget that. Which means what? We are fighting climate more than anyone else. Anyone else. We can give to the world how to be working in a situation which is not only climate-wise, nature-wise threatening in terms of the limitations that we have, threatening in terms of the limited wealth that we have. All of those things are here, and we have still not done too badly. We have given human capital to the world who are leading in many ways. So I feel that have this particular faith in you. Have this faith in you that you're unique. But your responsibility is not just towards yourself. Our DNA suggests that we live for others, for the world. Once you have that particular thing in mind, the world will come to you. You don't have to go to the world. Have this particular faith in you and proceed.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time today and sharing the very insightful thoughts that you had. And I'm pretty sure everyone watching had something to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for taking this initiative. And I look forward to learning from you guys. You should also bring in students who will, I can tell you, they can give you stories which are far better than what we can.
All right.
Thank you so much.